The dating world can be very frustrating as a younger guy. I know, especially for me, like being a kind of average guy throughout school, I would notice a lot of the girls would just go for the guys at the very top of social status. Like we all kind of intuitively understand, like there's some guys and some girls who are very high in social status, even if we like them or not or whatever. And there's guys who are generally like either average or on the very like lower bracket of social status. But anyways, like the majority of girls would go after these like very high level guys, like be the guys who played sports, or maybe they're like pretty boys, or like very charismatic and like a lot of people like them or something. But it's a very small minority of guys who get a lot of the attention. And for like an average guy, it's like very frustrating because it seems like you can't get the attention of anybody who you like. And I don't think a lot of guys understand that while it's hard right now and it is definitely unfair, it seems unfair and it is unfair. That's just kind of how the world works. It does change like later in life if you're patient enough and you actually like put in the work. Basically, I'll show up a picture right now, but this is the an explanation of sexual market value for like the dating world, and it compares males and females. So the pink is obviously females, and you'll see on the vertical axis, y-axis, this is like a scale rating of how valuable a woman will be in terms of like dating, 1 to 10. And you'll see very early, especially like compared to like the male, which is a blue, her value will be very high up, like starting out. And like that's just the way that it is for various different reasons that I can't even go into on this video. A woman in general is going to be more valuable in the dating market when she is like younger and like in this age range. It can be for biological reasons, for perceived innocence, and just all these different things. But generally, like this is how it is on average. And then you look at the men's and you'll see that our value, especially starting out when we're younger, it is very, very low, like relative to the woman's. And it can be frustrating because, it's like, well, why do women have like so much, value when they're younger? And like, why don't I have value on average? Like it's unfair, whatever. It's just the way the world works. But as you'll see later on in life, like as a woman gets older, her value starts to decrease and our value starts to go up. And this is the thing a lot of young guys just don't know is coming. And because of this, they make a lot of bad decisions. Like, especially like there's a whole bunch of different ways that this could end up happening, but they'll just make decisions not understanding that later on in life, they are going to become valuable just on average, and the woman is going to become less valuable. What you'll see happening is guys like committing to relationships like way too early. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this if that's something that you decide that you really want to do, but just understand like if you make that choice too early and then later on in life you become very valuable and she like becomes very low value. I mean, you may have just like jumped the gun, but besides that, the reason that this happens is because a lot of the things a male values in a woman has nothing to do with something that like she like really built on her own. Like what we value, like generally as men, like especially like for a long-term relationship, we're gonna value innocence. Like we don't want her to have slept with a like a lot of other men or had like past relationships, and as she gets older, like the probability of that happening and like her having kids with someone else is just going to go higher. For biological reasons, better to, it's better because your kids are probably going to come out better if she's like young and fertile, like all those reasons. Generally, men are just like more attracted to like younger, more innocent women and whatever. But the thing is, women don't really value that in a man. Like in a man, or what females value more in a man is competence and like confidence. Do you have yourself established? Do you have resources to be able to take care of yourself and me? Are you going to be able to take care of our children? Like, do you understand like a whole bunch of different things? And the things that women value in men, men have to build themselves up. They actually have to create those things. Like you have to work to like make that money and like build yourself up. You have to like, if it's your physique, you actually have to work to build your body and like be more attractive. Whereas a woman, she can still like build, women can still build their physiques or whatever. But for a lot of it, like they're kind of born with it, if that makes sense. But anyways, what women value in men are different than what men value in women. What men value in women is generally something that already kind of born with, essentially. She doesn't really have to work for it. But what a woman values in a man generally is something that he has to work for and build in himself. So with that in mind, as men grow up and improve themselves and like all this stuff, his value is going to grow and grow and grow. And then I'm not looking at the thing right now, but I think it's like mid 30s. That's when his value peaks because he's still pretty young. He's probably like built himself up. He's able to, he still has a lot of energy. He like has all of these things going for him. That's when his value peaks. Now, the reason I'm making this video is, for one, if you're very frustrated in the dating market because you feel it's very hard to get girls and like find a girl who's willing to have this relationship with you, or just whatever the reason is, understand that if you're doing the things right, like if you, even if you're not like this exceptional person, on average, you're most likely going to have a way better dating experience later on in life. But at the same time, this doesn't mean you should just like slack off and do nothing and just like, okay, well, I'll just wait until I get older because, then things will be easier. Like, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if you just like do the right things, keep working on yourself, eventually dating is going to get easier. And it does happen for a lot of men. And at the same time, I don't want you to be like a whole bunch of other guys who make the decision on their partner way too early. I see this with a lot of guys who like, as soon as they get their first girlfriend, they're like, oh my gosh, I want to get married because, she's like the love of my life. She's like all this and whatnot. But then like these guys will get older. And even if they really do love their wife, which a lot of, them will, you get to a point where you've grown so much in value and she's kind of gone down in value. And now you see a whole bunch of other options, which you would have rather chosen, but you're stuck, kind of, if that makes sense. Really, I just think that it's helpful to be aware that this does happen in the dating market because, again, if you're unaware of this, you'll probably make quick, rash decisions, just like not knowing what actually happens. And it's for me at least, it's very interesting to think about this. I mean, I've even heard a lot of stories where it's like these guys will be like super attracted to this girl and like very obsessed over them. But then as they grow older and, eventually, you keep up with someone like on Facebook or something, and then you realize she's gotten like all fat and, just very unattractive. And you're like, wow, she really changed. Like, I mean, that kind of sounds cruel, but don't put women on a pedestal because while they are at their peak like value and like very attractive, very sought after right now, and you really want to like have one and like be in relationships with them or have a bunch of sex and whatever, and it's like really annoying because it's like difficult. They make you go through all these like shoots and hoops. Just understand later in life, like it's not going to be that hard. It's going to be so much easier because now you're going to be on top and you're going to be able to choose. Also, you can work on yourself right now and not have to wait until you get to like mid 30s to where like you can enjoy being like really high value. You can work on yourself. Like you can build a physique, you can work on business and like, become some of these like high value guys who are still very young and can enjoy a lot of these benefits. Like you don't have to wait. You can put in the work right now and peak earlier and keep that peak there like longer in life. I think if I could have told a younger version of me this, like it kind of helped me like save my mental health because man, for a while I was just stressed over girls. It's like, dude, I just can't fucking get laid. Yeah, man. As you get older, as you keep working on yourself, it gets easier. I promise you. Hope you got some value from this video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. Peace out.